Awesome. All righty. We are live. Welcome back, Sherri, to an early version this week because we have exciting things going on tonight. And can't wait to get into our exciting news for tonight.
Absolutely. How are you today?
I'm good. It was a wonderful day and it is a good Monday. But I'm, like I said, excited for tonight. So we end up and have a guest and product review, product sampling, all kinds of fun things happening.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been excited all day. That's why I've done several stories on Instagram. It's like, ooh, I'm so excited. Our first guest is actually what it is.
It is. And I see he's in the back studio. So I'll bring him on here in a minute. So for those of you that are jumping on and watching us live, I just wanted to introduce you guys all to the founder of the Power Puck Company. This is a company that their mission is to improve metabolic health by providing a super satiating and energy dense alternative to nutrition bars, snacks that is based on saturated fat and protein while containing no carbs, no sugars, no seed oils, etc., etc. So I'm going to end up and bring him on. And this is Matt. This is one of the founders of the Power Puck.
Hi,
welcome, Matt.
Glad to be here.
How are you?
Doing great. It's we live in Denver and it's finally getting hot out here. We've had like a really crazy rain season this year, which we haven't had rain in a couple of years, it seems like. And then I swear for the last like 40 days, it rained almost every single day. It's been pretty nuts.
That's the way it is here in Nebraska too. It's like we called it a soggy June and we're going to be sloppy July because it's just raining and it's coming down. We need it like spread out because we're getting it all like in big mega doses. And of course we're talking about rain and cooler temps, and poor Sherri's down there in Texas where it's like 100 and some degrees.
Yeah, no kidding.
Some degrees. Yeah, it's been I think it's setting at 100 on the dot right now. So yeah.
Wow, that's just crazy. Well, first of all, first things first, I did end up and want to say we appreciate you being on tonight because we understand it is a very special day for you. So happy birthday.
Thank you.
We appreciate you taking your birthday and spending it with us and our audience. And for the audience, if you end up and you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat as we go through this. But Matt, if you want to kind of tell us a little bit about your story and kind of what started you on this journey.
Yeah, of course. So my wife and I, Allison, we're very health conscious people. We, have always focused on, what we thought was eating healthy. And it was, the traditional way that people thought eating healthy, lots of vegetables, not a lot of meat. And after a lot of research and, listening to podcasts, YouTubes like this, following a lot of people, and kind of realizing that we were in a low protein state because we were consuming so much, wheat and carbs and sugar and things that weren't protein. We decided to make the shift to kind of the carnivore diet. And, I do that pretty strictly, and I have for a while now. My wife and kids, they do, they eat meat and then fruit. So the boys will eat strawberries or watermelon, but they'll eat, elk or beef pretty much every meal, and eggs in the morning. My wife does the same, Allison. She's doing that again right now through her third pregnancy. So this is the first time.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats. Yeah.
First time she's eaten that way during a pregnancy, but it's, it's gone really well so far. She's doing great. And getting into the pucks. So last year we ended up going on a family vacation, between Christmas and New Year's. And I was about 6 months into carnivore at the time. And I was trying to think of something I could eat while we were abroad that wasn't going to mess up my diet so far. And I also had just ended a 60-day experiment of where I spent all of November and December eating very high protein and low fat. So I was averaging, probably 60 to 70% of my calories a day coming from protein, which is very high. Just because I wanted to see what would happen. I'm an engineer, so I'm nerdy like that. And so coming into this trip, it was the end of the 2 months of doing the high protein, and I wanted to switch to high fat and going for probably 80% fat in my diet. And I couldn't think of a way to get a lot of fat in my diet, especially after eating all just like that lean meat for a while. And then I looked and I had a bunch of tallow from all the meat that I cook all the time. And I was like, well, if I can just figure out a way to start eating this tallow, that adds a whole bunch of fat. And really just started messing around with how can I make it taste like something, because, tallow straight by itself doesn't have a bad taste. It just doesn't really have a taste at all.
Yeah.
Just kind of waxy taste if you don't add anything to it, no salt or anything. And started messing with some flavors, some protein powders, and ended up kind of making myself a puck that was really just protein and a little bit of flavoring and tallow. And I was eating it just for myself. And after a couple of weeks of doing that, my 2-year-old at the time asked if he could have some bites, and he actually liked it. And so that kind of made me think, like, wow, if kids will eat this, that would be a whole new ball game. And then I tried to get Allison to try it, and she was reluctant. Finally, she tried it, and then kind of off the cuff just said, you know what would make this taste a lot better? If you added some of those crushed pork rinds in there and gave it a little texture. And so that was her idea, and that made it much, much better. Gives it that little bit of crunch, gives it a little bit of savoriness with the salt. And from there, started taste testing them with some family members, some friends, some more kids, and more and more kids were liking it. Like you read in the beginning, at the same time, we had our second boy born. And I spent probably 6 hours one week on Google trying to find something that I could feed the kids that wasn't loaded with sugar or wasn't loaded with seed oils. And it was, you could find something that was sugar-free and it had a bunch of canola oil or something in it, and or safflower oil, or you could find something that had no seed oils, but it was loaded with sugar. I couldn't find anything without both. I think I'm pretty good at Googling, and I couldn't come across anything. And this was another thing that kind of accomplished both of those. The kids liked the taste of it. The only problem was it was hard for them to eat a 1,000 calorie puck. And so that's when we started the pocket power pucks, which you see here in this picture. And that's kind of that is actually one puck just broken into 30 small pucks. So the same macros that are in a puck, which is 90 grams of fat, 35 grams of protein, and 0 carbs. That's exactly what's in this bag. So it's just broken into 30 smaller pieces. And initially we made this for kids to eat, and our kids, because they could handle eating something this size, and they can only eat a couple of them before they get full, because remember, this is 85, 90% tallow. So it's very filling. And then also I think for women, they've tended to like this a little bit better too. There's not a lot of people that I've met so far that can put down an entire puck at once. I can do it, but I've been doing it for a while. Most people, put down maybe half a puck or a little bit less. And so these bags of pocket power pucks are great because, you can just throw 6 of them in your mouth between meetings or something like that and swallow them down, and you got 200 calories right there. We've had some folks that have been dropping it into their coffee to give it a little mocha flavor, a little vanilla flavor. So yeah, there's just been great. The company's only been around. I think we started selling the actual pucks the very end of March. So, it's only been a couple of months that we've been at it, but yeah, it's been great so far. We've gotten great reception. We've met a lot of great people like the two of you who have tried it out and helped give us some pointers. And it's just good to hear the feedback and see other people enjoying the product as well.
Well, absolutely. And you kind of briefly mentioned it, speaking in regards of the clean ingredients. And that's one thing, when Sherri first was actually the first one to talk to you. And then, of course, she kind of brought me into it. And I don't think you quite had an idea of how much I would run you through the loops as far as the ingredients. because we, as someone, you know, and I agree with you, the whipped tallow, you know, I've had a recipe on this YouTube for 2 years. I just whipped the tallow and I'd add some flavorings, but could never really get the flavoring. And you and I had spoke about this, but get it quite right. You know, you had kind of done some mixing and adding and subtracting as far as the ingredients. And I get what you're saying. Watching, you know, how clean it is and where you've kind of sourced everything and how much heart and soul you've kind of put into making sure that that is a clean option. Like I said,
I was going to say, just walking through the ingredients, I really became a stickler about trying to keep it 0 carb. You know, there wasn't a real particular reason for that besides the fact that there's very little products on the market that are 0 carb. So it would have been a lot easier if I just said, okay, I'll do 3 carbs or 4 carbs or something like that. There's a lot more products on the market that could have accomplished that. Sticking at 0 carb made it much more difficult. But we got it all figured out, I think, for the products that we have right now anyways. And, you know, the main products, you can see them right here across the bottom, is grass-fed beef tallow. We have a local company that we work with that has a very special rendering process that allows the puck to be a little bit harder at room temperature. Those of you that may have rendered tallow yourself, a lot of times it's very soft at room temperature. So finding a way to make it a little more dense was really critical in the beginning. And so these pucks will stay, they won't turn to liquid until about 86, 87, 88 degrees. And they'll hold their shape pretty well up till about 80 degrees. So you don't have to keep them refrigerated, but I do keep mine refrigerated just because I like to eat them cold. That's just a preference of mine, but it's fine if you take it out. Like I'll take it when I go hiking or when I go hunting. I'll leave it in my pack all day. And as long as it's not in the direct sunlight, it's fine when I eat it. But yeah, so the grass-fed beef tallow, we've got grass-fed protein that's from New Zealand, actually. So it's grass-fed beef or whey that's sourced from New Zealand. And then we've got pork rinds that are cooked in pork fat and not in seed oils. So that was the other main component of narrowing down the pork rinds. So yeah, all the pork rinds we do use are cooked in lard, and that's a question that a lot of folks do ask us. But we did find a company that was able to provide us with that. Speaking of which, Allison just walked in.
Hi.
So,
hey, nice to meet you,
Hi.
Allison.
Pop in and say hi.
Well, welcome.
Absolutely.
yeah, you missed me go through a long-winded answer or description of starting the company, but
And
yeah.
congrats on the new expecting.
Oh yeah, thank you.
How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah, the first trimester was tough, but I'm feeling much better.
Awesome.
So more energy and.
So I mentioned this was kind of the first pregnancy you've had where you've eaten mostly meat and not a lot of carbs so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell a difference?
I do. Yeah. I feel like I just feel healthier in general. Like I think that with the other 2 pregnancies, I don't know, they were actually easier. And I've heard that boys' pregnancies are easier and this one's a girl. But I just always felt really bloated at the end of the day. But this is how I felt prior to going more animal-based anyways. So every night it became just something that I was used to. I would feel just bloated and uncomfortable. And that's how I went to bed. And I just thought it was normal. And then once I stopped eating as much gluten, well, I don't really eat as much gluten at all anymore. But the like green vegetables, giving all that stuff up made a huge difference for me. And so I think it's just kind of filtered into this pregnancy, even though it's been a little harder, but I think it has nothing to do with, I think it's just a different baby, different hormones. But I love not being bloated at the end of the night and uncomfortable. So.
Yeah, I definitely think girls are a whole different animal anyway, as a mom of a girl. So there you go.
Yeah. Can't wait.
Let's say absolutely. I've got girls and boys, and yeah, I would agree. So do you notice that you've had to change anything? I mean, some people have to put, maybe a few extra burgers on their plate or, anything like that? Or is with the pucks, is the satiety pretty much still there?
Are you asking me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, do I feel more hungry?
Yeah. Are you still satiated, or has your hunger level increased with this pregnancy being more animal based?
I think I'm just hungry all the time for some reason, but I feel so much better about what I'm putting in my body.
Mm-hmm.
And then certainly, yeah, when I do eat the pucks, I feel a lot more full, and I'm able to get from point A to point B without being too hungry in between.
But that's the issue with some people when they're expecting, is the fact that they're not able to end up and eat, and what they eat, kind of makes them sick. And so being able to actually eat a little bit more and really grow that, human within inside you, and not, do the old mentality eating for two. I did that with my kids.
Oh yeah.
But it wasn't necessarily eating the optimal foods at that point either.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just feel better about what I'm putting in my body. I'm not as.
I'd say too, with the other pregnancies, she would go through phases where she like really liked one food, whether it was Mexican food or something else like that. And this time it hasn't really ventured. We have, steak most nights. Every once in a while we have fish or chicken. But really it's been that, and then whatever kind of fruit we have around the house at that point in time.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. But starting with the meat and making that my focus, and then having the pucks when I want some pucks, and it's great.
Matt said you're the brainchild for putting the crunch to the pucks.
Well, yeah, when he was eating them and talking about it, I was like, truthfully, I don't know that this would be a texture, because I'm a texture person, and I didn't like especially with the tallow, the way it was a little bit almost like waxier or something like that. It wasn't for me, but I said I would eat it if there was a crunch to it. And then I said, well, we eat a lot of pork rinds. There was some pork rinds in there. And it worked out.
It was great. I think the crunch is crucial for the tallow pucks. The cacao ones that we make
probably don't need it.
Yeah, it's more salt that is added by the pork rinds. But cacao, that's more of that chocolate texture. And that was kind of the reason that we did offer cacao right in the beginning, was for kids that are used to eating chocolate. I think it's easier for them to switch to the cacao pucks first than it is to go from tallow. And that's what we've kind of noticed with our kids too. So our 3-year-old, when he first started eating the pucks, he loves the cacao ones, but he's had chocolate before, he's had candy before. Our 1-year-old, or 13-month-old, he'll eat all of it. You just give him the little tallow ones, and he'll just suck on them until they're gone in his mouth, and then grab another one and grab another one. So he loves them.
And I think it's great for people who also just want a better option, snack option too, because there's not a lot of people that do like tallow. We have had that feedback from certain people that they will eat the cacao and they enjoy the cacao, but they're not familiar with tallow. They don't eat it very often. They don't cook with it. So it's nice to have both options, but certainly the more keto carnivore people prefer the tallow. We've sold a ton of tallow to that demographic.
It's crazy how much or how little people even know about tallow. I mean, I didn't even know what tallow was a couple of years ago. It's crazy when you think about how that was pretty much all anybody cooked with 50, 60, 70 years ago, and that and lard, and now it's people have never even heard the word before.
I know. And that just goes to show how, disconnected we are in regards of the healthy fats, right? Because that's what we've been led to believe, is that, fats are bad for us, and low fat, and, going down all those avenues of getting the fats out of our diet and not keeping it in there, and the benefits that they have. Trust me, I've got, people coming out of the woodwork when 2 years ago, I was eating it just a plain whipped tallow stick. And of course I didn't have, any sense to, hey, let's add, a little bit of this and a little bit of that and create this. And that's why when we kind of found you, it was like, wow, this is like a lot simpler and on, mass production of being able to get this out to where people enjoy it. And that's one of the benefits also, is that you created the little sampler packs. That's, we kind of talked about the pocket pucks and the big bag, but having the option. So if they end up and they want to try several different flavors, or the different bases even.
So the sampler packs, I think it was crucial for the brand to get those out there, because like we were just talking, so many people don't even know what tallow is. So you sit there and you're like, what flavor do you want? They're thinking in their mind, I don't even know what tallow is or tastes like. How am I supposed to even know what flavor it is? So having the sample pack has been great. I'm glad that we launched those. Those have only been out for probably 4 or 5 weeks now. But
it would have been nice if we could have gotten a little sooner, but it's been awesome. We've sold a ton of them, and I think people are able to pinpoint what flavor they do like and what base they like, and then it gives them the opportunity to try the tallow without committing to a full bag.
Oh, absolutely. Matt, do you want to tell everyone what happened when you sent me the first go round?
Yep. So I made the mistake of not looking at where your address was when I printed all that out, and down in Texas, where it was 101 degrees or whatever, the pucks did melt. And so, we're still every week coming up with new ways to ship these things. The pocket pucks are a lot harder to ship. Yeah. Those melt a lot easier than the regular pucks do. And so this week we've been shipping all the pocket pucks in boxes, just so if they do get soft, they're not getting smushed. We also have been experimenting with some different types of insulation and different size ice packages to use. So the shipping is a little bit more expensive in the summertime, but it's because we're trying to make it so the pucks don't melt. The good news is
it's still edible.
Yeah, it's totally fine. If it shows up, it's melted, just toss it in the fridge, and within 20 or 30 minutes, it'll just be it won't be a puck shape anymore. It'll be something flatter, but it'll be firm again, and you can eat it without getting all messy. So that's good. It's a little bit different if it's like a melted Starburst or gummy bears or something. Then those become more of an issue.
The French vanilla reminds me of the filling of an Oreo. That is tasty.
It is very good.
The French vanilla is the tallow.
That's your favorite.
Yeah, the French vanilla. The tallow is great with the French vanilla in my mind. I think it's really. I was
going to say, I end up and I do fat fasting. So a couple days a week, all I end up and I do is just fat fast. I actually created like a whole course. Well, you're going to end up and make me go back and redo my course, because power pucks, or, the pocket ones, like for instance, this morning, I tagged your company in it on Instagram, but that was my meal, was just one of these packets. And, my morning, now I drink Shilajit in the morning just for the mineral aspect, but grabbing one of these and, it being my meal, it was so simple, so easy. I was able to go outside and do, my morning routine. And I think this morning I ended up with the chocolate peanut butter is the one that I grabbed, but I'm like you, I put them in my fridge and I just grab a pack out and away I go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, funny enough, I'm fasting right now. I'm doing a 72-hour fast right now and 46 and a half hours in. So, but I'm doing fast as well. I'm also a menopausal woman, and so my body needs the extra fat more than the standard kind of carnivore, keto, typical, the macros that you see. And one of the things that Becky teaches in the BNC communities, a little tip that she gave me months ago, is to eat like a tablespoon of fat before I go to bed at night, right? Yeah. And she's like, well, just take a hunk of butter and like pop it in your, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And I finally started doing it, and it is amazing how much better I sleep at night.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I kind of forgot about that. We talked about it, and we have jars in our fridge just as for the same thing, just a little spoonful full. And
this is going to be perfect. Yeah. Then
but
this has better flavor than a bite of butter.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, it's awesome. just seeing all the different ways that people are using it, like,
Yeah.
you know, helping them sleep at night, or, you know, flavoring coffee, like we mentioned earlier. It's just stuff I wouldn't have thought of doing, but I'm glad that it's helping.
I was to say, and it's not a overpowering, you know, even with the chocolate one, none of them are really like an overpowering sweet, like you would want to, you know, eat it like a chocolate bar. You know, I eat a pack and I'm full, you know, I'm satiated. I don't have that need or that want of, you know, craving more. And that's one of the things when people, especially, you know, in the carnivore space, talk about, oh, that can be a slippery slope. And I think that has to go to show the macros in it and getting those healthy fats. I mean, it does come, you know, with a little bit of protein in there through the protein powder and the pork rinds with the fat. But like I said, the 6 little pucks that are or pocket pucks that are in one of those sampler packs is perfect. Like you said, just to fuel up and, you know, be content until you get that steak or get that next meal.
Yeah, and that's what's great about the full bags too of the pocket pucks, is that you can just open it up and have a few and set it in your purse or in your, you know, fridge again, and freezer too if you like them really cold. And
yeah,
that's what we do. We have some in our one of our fridges, and we'll just like pop a few here and there, and our kids will. And we have friends in town this weekend, and they were giving it to their kids and grabbing a few, and so all of our families eat them now.
Yeah. Yep. And, you know, we do have one flavor that's not in the sample packs, but we do have the kind of the natural flavor, which is for the folks that do want to stay away from the stevia or any of the artificial or any of the, you know, natural sweeteners that we have in there. And that natural flavored puck, all that one has is tallow, same tallow. It's instead of whey protein, that one has beef protein. And then it's the pork rinds. So that one's pure beef source, beef and pork.
Has a beefy taste to it.
Yeah, it's you know, a lot of people actually order them. Surprisingly, it's not like eating straight tallow, but it's got salty. It's got the crunch in there from the pork rinds, and it's got a little bit of saltiness to it as well. But it's if you're a person that isn't used to the carnivore diet, I wouldn't suggest that be your first puck.
Gateway into the pucks. But
there.
But that's awesome that you end up and you have that natural flavoring one as well, because there are those that are, you know, a little bit more strict. And that's the nice thing with us and the community that Sherri was referencing is we have anywhere from carnivores into paleo. So we hit, you know, everyone in between. I would say more people are pretty much carnivore and keto, but being able to end up and have those options and know that, you know, it is a clean product. It's not something, you know, that is going to create, like you said, a dip even, you know, it's not going to end up and create some type of a glycemic issue. I know Sherri's had them, you know, when she had her CGM on.
Yeah, because so I wore a CGM for 12 months until probably May, I think is when I took it off. So until like 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. And I had it on while we were doing all the different puck experiments in the beginning. And I can definitely say, and Sherri, let me know if you're the same, but every time I ate a puck, I never saw, I mean, I was rock steady on my CGM the whole time. Never saw my blood sugar really move at all.
Yeah, I've been resisting trying to eat them before we had had you on. It's like, oh, I want to try it. But yeah, I'll start paying attention to, I just, obviously we know I'm fasting, and I just had 2 tiny little ones. Just tried the chocolate. That was good. I could taste the crunch in it, and it was like, ooh. Now, right now I'm pretty strict carnivore. I've eliminated everything except for meat. And so the one product you were just saying appeals to me with just the no stevia in it and the straight. So if you want to try and ship some more to me here in the hot Texas.
We would be happy to.
In the 80s here. Yeah. But no. And what's nice too is I traveled up from Houston to Dallas this week, and I grabbed these, and you sent them, like the whole pack. And I actually threw in my own little cooler with the ice packs in it. And that was about, I think they were in there about 5 hours, and they did perfect. And they got up here because, so what I found was, and I threw one in my purse with me. I rode a bus up, and just to see how it would do in my purse, and it traveled great. It was fine. So, I was trying to test things out. So the cooler, the little cooling thing with the ice, went into my suitcase, then went in the bottom of the bus in the heat. And then these went in, I had some in my purse, and again, perfect. So they travel well. I think I like what you said about, if you hunt and fish and hike and all of that. Look, I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to go make my own tallow bites. I'm just not I'm not going to take that time to do it. And then, especially now that I've had your product, that's good, but I think Becky nailed it when she said it's not overly sweet. So I don't feel like I want to go and consume like, oh, now I can't stop. Just the 2 tiny little pucks that I had, it's like I'm satisfied. It wasn't overbearing. You guys really are onto something. I really like your product.
I also have a good friend who she actually uses it. She's not carnivore. She probably eats a little bit more animal based. She eats a ton of meat and stuff like that, but she does have a pretty big sweet tooth. And so she actually has been buying them just to eat at the end of the night as a little quick, that's her dessert. So it's a good option for that too.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that do that. People that, before bed used to not be able to resist grabbing the Chips Ahoy cookies or something like that. And now they can, they have a couple of the pocket power pucks, and their cravings are satisfied, and they can go to sleep. We didn't want the flavor to be overly bearing, especially folks that do eat more animal based. You're more sensitive to kind of that sweetness. And so we wanted it to be mostly the tallow flavor, but something to just make it tolerable and enough to eat more, to get the nutrients that we think are in the tallow and the protein that we think that people should be getting as well. Yeah. And so that was kind of what we were going for, the least amount of sweet possible that still made it a product that people could enjoy eating.
Yeah.
Well, I know we have some comments coming in, and overwhelmingly people are saying that they're really glad that it's not overly sweet. That there's somebody said it's awesome. It has a crunch to it. I love the idea of this as an alternative. So awesome to find a clean company. And I agree. I mean, I've been keto carnivore now for not quite 2 years. We're coming up real close here in October. And I have had to become a label reader and an ingredients guru to some degree to figure out what I'm putting in my body. Now, I am a type 2 diabetic that I'm in the process of reversing. So it is really important to me to know that this is not going to, make my glucose go up. So I look at everything. I mean, I scrutinize it, and that's probably, Matt, why I put Becky on your when you reached out to me. I was like, Becky will put you through the paces.
She did. She was asking a lot of questions.
Yeah.
And I got to give kudos to you, because any question I threw your way, you were very patient with answering. So, that goes a long way in a company as well, to end up and have that customer service and have that, aspect of being able to reach out and be like, hey, why, as someone that just did with tallow and, flavoring, why are you putting this in? And, why this, what company, because we do end up very sensitive, and we do have client, as someone that does coaching, I have clients that are very sensitive to things. And I know, a lot of people will use that term. It's a clean, clean source. Well, the further you kind of dig into some of those, they're not as clean as what they say. But like I said, any of the question I kind of threw at you, you were very open and honest with, this is where I'm sourcing it. I get my tallow local, it was.
No, he actually loved all those questions. He told me, he's like, oh yeah, I just met this woman and she's asking me all these questions, because that's how he would be. So he appreciated it.
It's nice to answer the questions that I would be asking, or that somebody that, you can tell that people actually care about what they're eating when they ask those questions. And, it would have been really easy for us to add preservatives or add sugar, because that keeps it from melting, any of that in there, or any of the artificial sweeteners like allulose or something like that to keep it, more stable in the heat during the summer. But, we are really trying to do everything we can to just keep it to the 3 ingredients that it is, nothing else. Try to solve the shipping issues with more kind of external things like the boxes and stuff like that. I really don't want to have to add anything to it. I think just having the tallow, the whey protein, and the little bit of pork rinds is all you need. Anything else is just extra and isn't in there for any nutritional value. So that's kind of our goal, is to keep it as minimal as possible and address any problems that come up or any issues, kind of externally, instead of by changing the recipe.
And I knew that coming. When you sent me the first round, right, I knew that the heat was going to be a serious issue for the product. Honestly, it, that one picture I sent you of this whole package was just plain melted. Yeah. And surprisingly, it wasn't the tallow that melted as bad as the other, which we found. Yeah, you want to address that?
Yeah, so we've done a lot. We have a little warming drawer in our kitchen, so I did a lot of melting tests with these things. And it's really interesting. The cacao, it's harder, it's more firm at room temperature, 72, 75 degrees, but it melts to liquid at a lower temperature. So kind of the opposite of what you would think. The cacao would be total liquid by about 85 degrees, whereas it had to get to about 90 for the tallow to get to total liquid. But the cacao, once it got to that kind of mid 80s, it doesn't hold its shape or anything. The tallow, you can actually get it all the way up to the point of 90 degrees, and it'll still look just like a little puck. And as long as you don't push on it or anything, you can put it back in the fridge and it'll keep that shape. That's kind of why we just started putting everything in boxes, was to try to keep it from getting pressed down during the shipping in the summer. It also, starting the company in the wintertime, it was so easy shipping these things out. We were having no issues whatsoever. And then all of a sudden you ship something to Texas in June and it's like, oh crap.
Which, like you said, still tastes the same. But I do think that's also goes to show the nutritional side of the tallow, the stearic acid and just the fatty profile of the tallow, and able to hold its shape so that it's not melding, kind of like the cacao does. But
the tallow has a lot of micronutrients in it that I think are overlooked by people. They only look at the fatty acid profile and they see that cacao and tallow are very similar with the stearic acid, palmitic acid, that content. But there's a bunch of vitamins, which I think there should be more studies done on what vitamins are in, how much K2 is in, how much vitamin A, vitamin E, what all is in tallow, especially grass-fed tallow, so that people can have a better sense of that. Because right now I think people think of tallow, and if they've ever even heard of it before, all they think of is just straight fat. They're not thinking anything in their mind like the vitamins that they're getting from eating it as well, which you don't get that from the processed fats from like cacao or any of those seeds. You don't get any of that nutritional value. It really is just a fatty acid profile and nothing else.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I know the comment come through that KetoCon 2024 should end up and be on your radar, because this is definitely a product that needs the spotlight put on them. It is a wonderful product. I don't know if you have any. I know you got a meeting coming up, so I want to be respectful of your time and get you out the door as you need to. But any final words or anything you would like to share with the audience?
I'd just say we really appreciate you guys having us on. This is the first time we've ever done anything like this. We're glad that the word's getting out there. We love the feedback that we're getting. We love the help that we're getting from people like you, promoting it to other people who are health conscious. Like we've been talking about, I do think this is a unique product, especially the way that we're making it right now, where it's, no seed oils, no preservatives, no sugars, and minimal ingredients, only the stuff that's necessary and nothing else. I don't think there's a lot of products like that out there right now. And, keeping Power Puck true to that is important for us. And, that's kind of what our goal is with the company.
Yeah. And we do have KetoCon on our radar. And he's working on some other products that he's testing. And so we'll stay true, and hopefully those will be out soon.
Yeah. If we can get those ones to work, we'd love to come back on here again and you guys can taste test some more.
I was just saying, and we've kind of spoke, so I'm excited about where the Power Puck company is going and its future endeavors with other products. And I can't wait. I know if it's anything comparable, to what has already come out, it's going to end up and be phenomenal. Because both the pucks, no matter which base you go with, I think is great. Like I said, I use them for fat fasting. I'm actually saving some of the chocolate mint to travel with me to South Dakota. So I leave for South Dakota at the end of the week. I'm taking a couple of the little pocket samplers with me, but I'm taking the bigger bag of the chocolate mint, and it's going road tripping with me because it's one of those things where I don't have to worry about, temptation with gas stations or any of that type of food, because I'll end up and I'll have my chocolate mint with me. So I'll be good.
That chocolate mint tallow it's
really good.
A good one. Yeah.
It is very good. Well,
I'm gonna have to get some down here in Texas.
I know, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, awesome. Well, we appreciate you both. And I did end up and put our links. Sherri and I both have links to the powerpuck.com company. So definitely check them out. Our discount code is there as well. But we appreciate both of you. I don't know what you did with the boys, but we appreciate you. And like I said, congrats on the baby girl.
Well, thank you. And thank
happy birthday.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. We look forward to talking to you guys more.
Yes.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. You can get to your meeting. Feel free to jump off. We appreciate you guys. Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
What an amazing company.
I'm impressed.
Yes. Like I said, the French vanilla ends up and to me reminds me of, and the wafer cream. So there's several that we obviously did not have on tonight. I mean, the variety of flavors that they have, but the wafer cream also is really good. But yeah,
So,
I should say you have all yours there.
I do.
Try the wafer cream.
The
it's
wafer
really good.
cream and the tallow.
In the towel. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's try that.
Sorry, audience, for sitting on camera and chewing, but they're really good.
I don't know, the French vanilla of the tallow was really good. So let's try this one. This is the wafer cream tallow. Okay.
But it's good. Like I said, even with the French vanilla, it the wafer cream reminds me almost of like a vanilla wafer because it's got that crunch to it. It's got that vanilla flavor to it. It's crazy. What is my favorite? Oh, that's tough. Honestly. Of course, I mean, tallow has a special place in my heart, right? Tallow has been my baby since I created tallow sticks. So I'm going to have to go with the tallow base. As much as I like the other, and I like it because it does hold up, but
Yeah.
I really like the French vanilla and the wafer cream. Although I did have the chocolate peanut butter this morning, and it was very good. And it kept me full. So I had one of these, to go back kind of to the fat fast. I had one of these this morning for my first meal with my glass of Shilajit. And that's all I ended up and had until I'm eating these tonight.
Yeah.
Very satiating. But not like a sorry, I was reading comments. Not like a, oh my, like Allison was saying, not a bloated, oh my God, I'm full. They have chocolate ones that are both base.
Deb, if you want to wait, nobody's gonna know my personal business here, but we're going to visit one of the people that's on in our audience right now. And if you want, I'll bring these and you can try them and see for yourself. I've got samples of both. I've got the wafer cream tallow, the chocolate peanut butter tallow, the chocolate tallow, and the French vanilla, which I don't know if I can stay out of that one. That one's really good.
Here's
And
mine.
then for the yeah, the cacao, I have the chocolate, and then I have, now this is what came in the sample pack. The French vanilla of the cacao and the chocolate peanut butter and the wafer cream. So it's basically the same, just in the two different ingredients, the tallow versus
The base.
So I think, and I don't have the experience like Becky has with the tallow, but I almost think I'm liking the tallow a lot. Like, I don't like, ooh, but I'm still not going to go make my own tallow bites. So,
But
yeah,
as,
did you see what she put in the chat?
if you don't eat them all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons. So earlier in the week, I kept messaging Sherri and I'm like, which ones are we sampling? Well, then we ended up reaching out to Matt and being like, what is your opinion? What should we end up and sample, on our product review? And the reason for that was they are so good. And I had started, like I said, I fast Monday and Wednesdays. So I had started and I'm like, these are perfect for that. And yeah, it's just an amazing addition. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I think too, the ingredients, you put them through the paces. But and I know I appreciated that, but the fact that even the pork rinds are done in, what did he say? What was
Pork
the
fat.
ingredient? Pork fat. I mean, now I don't know about you, but like I said, I became a label reader. And if you go look in the grocery store on pork rinds, I mean, they're putting seed oils. They're cooking it in seed oils, right? And it's like, no, I'm trying not to consume these. And honestly, I won't buy them. I'll go without. But that's it. It's so impressive that I think this is one of the cleanest companies in this kind of product that I've really seen. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, keeping it very minimal, keeping it simplistic, within their ingredients, not adding a bunch of, additives or fillers or, sugar alcohols or anything like that. Yeah. The sweetener that he does use is stevia. And that's very, very minimal just because it is part of the powder that is added. But yeah, as far as the ingredients, I did go through it, because I'm one of those people that, I'm going to end up and sample it myself or try it myself before I ever recommend it for someone else. But I also want to know, as someone that, I can make this, I have my tallow, I have all sorts of, fat that I can end up and render. What makes this, something that I, as someone that's done, whip tallow sticks and whip tallow bites for 2 years, what is something that makes me, want to end up and go and get this? And I can tell you, I'll end up and I'll be placing an order. One, it's simple. It's got that crunch. It's got that great balance. And it's got that, family behind it that has the reason why, they've been there, they've done it. They've, done the testing. They've, made sure that it's clean. I mean, like Matt said, he's an engineer, so he's, just as much a data nerd as what I am when it comes to looking at these ingredients and looking, balancing. And I know they're, coming up with other products as well, and I can't wait for them. But it's just, when someone puts that much care and time and passion into what they do, and they make it, I mean, of course, I'm in Nebraska, so mine made it perfectly fine. I had one batch, but mine all for the most part, versus the 120 degrees that it was sent to. But he was open, he was honest, he was willing to not just give me, simple answers either when I was asking the questions. He explained it out, and, was very in depth with the answers and never really got short with me. And I appreciate that. And that's, one of the things, I know I text you and I'm like, hey, this is a quality company. And like Deb said, got to support a small business doing the right thing. And that's 100% correct.
Absolutely.
Because they're, that little, as a business owner, in a different area, obviously, than this, but as a business owner in this space as well, having that network and having that availability of someone that is putting their passion of, the lifestyle and making things clean, quality ingredients out there on the market. You're not seeing this day. There's so many products, kind of going back to, our meeting that is later tonight on the BNC about nutrition macros and fasting, and reading those labels. There's so many people that are putting keto or carnivore, whatever, just to end up and sell a product. And that's not one of the things with this company. And I do appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I'm going to rate this a definite 10 out of 10. They have my business at this point. I'm very impressed. And I'm going to be a big supporter of theirs. And for those of you out there that's watching this on replay, they feed their kids this. I mean, this is, it's a good product for kids as well as adults, right? So just that fact alone, that their little ones are going and eating, these little bites and sucking on them, and then the next one, I mean, they're just, that's impressive, because we all know how picky kids can be.
Exactly. And yeah, it's, like I said, my whipped tallow, the French vanilla, it's gone, sadly.
But I just promised Deb that I would bring these, so now I have to stay out of them.
You're gonna have a power puck, pocket puck filled weekend, because I want to hear all sorts of reviews. Now, reminder to everyone, we won't be live next week, but you'll have to join us over in the community so that we can end up and hear all about it.
Yeah, definitely. And I know you heard me both of us talk about fat fasting. And these are the kind of things that you're going to learn when you join the BNC community. It is beyond the nutrition, right? We do talk about nutrition, but that's not, this goes the community goes way beyond, and we have a tribe, and we have people, we personally text each other as a support system. I mean, it's growing, and I think that's what is lacking, is that true tribe community that especially if your family doesn't particularly eat the way you eat, or you don't have that support. We have support in that. So Becky's putting up on the banner here where to join, and go ahead and tell them about that code.
Yes. So right now through the 4th of July, we're still running a 50% off. So that makes it less than $1 a day. So that you end up and have community, you have support, and being able to have those like-minded people, and know that you end up and have people that are going to support you and be passionate. And that's one of the things that I put out today in regards of it was on my Instagram, but in regards of community, is a community is a mental and spiritual condition of knowing a place that is shared, that people who share the place define and limit the possibilities of each other's lives. It is the knowledge that people have of each other and their concerns for each other, their trust in each other, and the freedom with which they go among themselves. And that is truly, one of the passions with BNC. We end up, when we all do it a little bit different, but we are there to provide that guidance and provide that support, not only in, the 8 different meetings that we have throughout the week, but also within the coaching that the community provides. So maybe you need, a little bit more accountability and want that one-on-one. I don't know how, in addition to 8 meetings a week, but maybe you are someone, that does a little bit better with that. And we are there, anywhere from breath work to mental health and addiction, intuitive steps. So I go into like the circadian rhythm and the grounding and, that whole side of things, aromatherapy. And then we have a general wellness, and as well as a brain body health wellness meeting. And actually we have 2 breathwork meetings, one on Tuesday, one on Thursday. So yeah, for, all less than $1 a day, and being able to have that group. I know one of the questions, and I'll answer it on my Instagram tomorrow as well, but here in the last couple minutes, one of the questions that got put into my Instagram question box was, how much is it? So I said it's less than $1 a day, and to full disclosure, it is $18. So it's actually less than $20 to end up enjoying a community for 30 days. Cancel anytime. Come check us out for a month, see, but being able to have that, and you can also have an ongoing subscription so that you are in there every month and can join us. Yeah. And all the meetings are recorded. So, if the meeting time isn't something that you can end up and make, all of those meetings are recorded. They're posted in the circles, they're posted in the community, so that you can end up and go back. Maybe you're someone that, wants to do the breath work 3 or 4 times a week, because we have a beginner, and then we end up and we have an advanced, it's actually called 90 breath work. But maybe you're someone, that is in a fight or flight state, and you need to end up and be more in a parasympathetic. And so you need a little bit more of that breath work. You can end up and always do more, or do the aromatherapy. I post my graphics, I post PDFs. So you can always go back and find, a blend or diffuser blend or roller blend that, will help with whatever ailment you have. So it's definitely well worth the $18 a month. And
$18. That's like what? 2 Starbucks, the venti. I mean,
nowadays.
Yeah, it's like, that's what it is. And then you get so much more. And the fact that you can go back and rewatch them. I mean, wow. definitely, it's worth me giving up going to, get coffee out, or, don't do your DoorDash one time. It pays for itself in spades. So definitely, I think and we want it affordable for people because this is so important. Becky and I feel very passionate about helping people. And should we tell them or should we wait till then? The next few weeks on what I'm embarking on?
I think it would be good for not next week, but the week following when we talk about the community specific, when we end up and bring on all of our meeting hosts, all of our team to end up and embark on that.
Sounds good. So don't forget the 3rd, July 3rd, we will not be here. Go enjoy your 4th of July weekend, extended weekend. Have fun. And we will pick back up the following Monday, which is, I forget what date off the top of my head.
Give me a second.
Okay.
July 10th.
July 10th. And we'll be back to the 7 p.m.
Yes.
Central Time. We just had to bump this one up because Matt had another appointment to go to. So that's why we felt it was very important to go live instead of pre-record it and then play it back. So that's why we went ahead and went live at 5:30 Central. So there you go. You guys enjoy yourself.
Awesome.
Enjoy your trip, Becky.
Absolutely. And you enjoy your weekend with amazing friends. And hopefully everyone has a lovely 4th of July. Enjoy your Independence Day and everything that has brought us the independence.
Absolutely.